Deja Vu, Kentrell Gaulden, more popularly known as NBA Youngboy or Youngboy Never Broke Again, is back on the radar here. If you remember last April, we went in depth on his arrest in connection to what Cache County authorities called a large-scale prescription fraud ring. You can see a lot of my original coverage on our YouTube page, but in case you missed it, here are some of the highlights from what we took away from what took place here. So in April of last year, he was living in Huntsville, Utah, has a big home up there, under house arrest for federal firearm charges out of Louisiana. Reportedly convinced a judge to let him move to the Beehive State to be near a childhood mentor. According to the Cache County Sheriff's Office, Youngboy became a suspect in a prescription fraud scheme, calling in fraudulent prescriptions under the names of real doctors and using fake patient names. Gwendolyn Cox, I remember the names like it was yesterday, and birth dates to Utah pharmacies. He was doing this all with some other people. They charged him with 20 counts of identity fraud, 20 counts of obtaining a prescription under false pretenses, 20 counts of forgery, and more, over 60 original charges. Now, police searched his home where they found more prescriptions. Gwendolyn Cox was on there. Also found some weapons. His electronics were also seized, but Gaulden reportedly refused to give his passcodes, telling officers to take it and break it, according to the report. So in November of last year, 6 months after his arrest, NBA Youngboy pled guilty to 2 counts of felony identity fraud, 2 counts of felony forgery, and 6 counts of unlawful pharmacy conduct, less than a quarter of the overall charges against him. Considering the pending federal charges, the Utah State judge ordered 25-year-old Gaulden would not serve time in the Utah Correctional Facility. He was instead slapped with a $25,000 fine. He paid that the very same day. And 1 month later in December, a federal judge sentenced Youngboy to just under 2 years in prison on gun-related charges. This after he acknowledged having weapons despite being a convicted felon. He flashes a lot of those, by the way, in his music videos. But according to his friends on social media, he was released early last week. And from what we saw combing through the courts, a lot of those charges we just described to you regarding this large-scale prescription fraud ring were dismissed. Now, Youngboy lives in an upscale neighborhood, Olympus Cove in Mill Creek. And actually, we knew of this is where he lived before living in Huntsville. So yesterday, a resident of this area posted on the Nextdoor app used for neighbors to communicate, asking really if anyone else saw 2 private security guards with AR-15s chasing someone down Abenati Road. Judy Zone, who lives nearby, responded. Hello, everybody. Yes, Youngboy is back at the end of Abenati. He has 2 armed security guards, this time 2 20-somethings, who stopped me from walking my dog. Please note, I've called the police. Unfortunately, this is an open carry state, and these testosterone-fueled kids can feel proud walking the streets of our quiet neighborhood. Well, we met with Judy today to see if this is something this luxury neighborhood has experienced before.
It's very scary to have people with AKs strapped to their chests wandering around your neighborhood. I have lived in Utah for 50 years, and I've never encountered anyone visibly armed. So that's the first scary part. You know, we live in a really quiet place. Everybody's very friendly. So it's introduced this level of anxiety, because if someone starts shooting, you know, basically an automatic weapon, you just don't know where those bullets are going to land. I was stopped by 2 guys with bulletproof vests and security, you know, uniforms all in black. And one of them had an AK strapped to his chest. And, you know, I mean, it happened kind of last year when, right before Kentrell went to prison. And so I had called the cops then. I'm not the only one in the neighborhood, but it happened again. So I just said, you guys can't do this. I know you can't do this. So I just called 911.
Well, Judy's right. Utah's an open carry state. NBA Youngboy is a successful and popular rapper. Gets tons and tons and tons of views on his videos. A celebrity, he really could use the extra protection here. He is quite well known, especially if you listen to his music, you would know. According to Utah Highway Patrol, the permits the guards have are up to date and in order, begging the question, is this safe for the rest of the neighborhood? Judy says her neighborhood is quiet and secluded, which added to the shock value of the incident. She also did not know he was back living in this home.
I didn't know know he was back. You know, I didn't know that Kentrell is back. So I think I'm going to bake him some cookies. He's a very sweet kid. I mean, he's really young. You know, I mean, this is a very young person. Very, very young person, very kind. He called me ma'am. I told him I've never listened to his music. He said, I don't recommend it.
Well, Judy, I have listened to the music after we realized